BFD support for IPv6 BGP peering. So let's again get to an overview. So BFD and acronyms. So BFD means bidirectional forwarding detection. And this is a reminder. So obviously this is not a full training on BFD because the purpose is really to train about the network services that is BGP that get the benefit of the BFD framework. But just as a reminder, so BFD is a standard general purpose fast failure detection mechanism. So when a BFD session is established, uh, if there is no BFD packet, control packet that is received from the peer within the negotiated BFD interval that has been negotiated between the peer before, BFD will notify other protocols that are consuming that BFD service that there is a problem of connectivity between the two peers, so that the upstream protocols can take actions like tearing down the BGP sessions and so forth, clearing the routes. So BFD is a framework that is an infrastructure that network services can consume and subscribe to. So BGP would be one of those services that will subscribe to the BFD framework to take actions if there is a notification from BFD. BFD can operate in two modes. So the asynchronous mode and the demand mode. Demand mode is not supported on CX. So this is just to reduce the number of exchange and so this is not supported. We support asynchronous mode when there is a periodic exchange of control packet for BFD between nodes. So if one node does not receive the BFD control packet again within the specific interval, specified interval, it will tear down the BFD session. And then the other protocols that use BFD, that are configured for BFD, will take actions. So there is a way to improve these modes, which is called the echo function. So this is consisting into looping back the received echo message to the sender. And this is done in an accelerated way, thanks to the ASIC capability, so that there is no control plane processing on that. So that echo message is just simply processed in the ASIC, and it's just a loop back to the sender. So alleviating any CPU load, or if you want to have a fast rate of BFD with very aggressive timer, this is being done with the ASIC. So there is no further delay in processing that because of that acceleration. BFD must be, and the echo function must be implemented in both directions, okay? So as each BFD failure detection is unidirectional. So it's the node where you configure BFD and the other node being capable of echo. Well, the node starting that BFD session will detect if there is a failure. And similarly, the other node will have to configure BFD to detect for itself as well that there is a failure. However, if the local node um, detect that there is a failure, it will send a BFD control message to the peer notifying that the failure has been detected. Obviously, if the circuit is failing, it will not be able to notify the neighbor. So that's the neighbor needs to implement BFD as well. So usually the configuration is set in mirror between the nodes. So the important aspect between IPv4 and IPv6 is the ability to support or not that echo function in hardware. So for IPv4, you have first BFD asynchronous mode, BFD control messages that are sent between switch 1 and switch 3. So in blue, switch 1 communicating to switch 3 and switch 3 communicating to switch 1 in orange here. These are the control messages. Just for instance, to say establishing a BFD, negotiating on the timer, notifying switch 3, notifying the timer to switch 1, and so on. And then switch 3 is sending a BFD echo to switch 1 that will loop back this probe back to switch 3 without processing further that probe. It's just a loop back. That is in hardware. So that's for IPv4. And similarly for switch 1 sending the echo, and that is looped back by switch 3. In IPv6, that echo function is disabled in hardware. Instead, we are using the control plane for that. So as an example, switch 1 will send the BFD control will send a BFD control message with an echo, I would say, function, but in software. And switch 3 will reply to switch 1 as if it was a loopback, but in software. And for that, it will use ICMPv6 to include the copy of the probe that was sent and sourced by switch 1. So this is the way we achieve the same, but instead of doing that in hardware, it's done in software. Use cases for BFD. BFD, there is really a need for BFD when you have non-direct point-to-point circuits, okay, between the peers. So for BGP, for instance, it's when you have non-direct ROP between two nodes with an intermediate device, like a third-party device that is between two peers. So that could be, for instance, a layer 2 switch or a metropolitan carrier with a transport which is pure L2, and you have not a direct physical continuity between the two peers. So you have if the port is failing on one peer, there is no port getting down on the other peer. So this is where BFD come into the picture. Or if you have a layer 1 optical switch as well that does not reflect the state of the ports, between the ports. So most of the time, as a consequence, BFD is not much of use for BGP peering over a direct point-to-point layer 3 circuits. And the reason why is, for instance, for external BGP, you have the fast external failover that will ensure that if the circuits for the peering that is used fail, all the routes learned behind the next hop attached to the failed circuits will immediately get withdrawn, and that will be performed in milliseconds. So please use that command, and with that command, there is no need for BFD, and the convergence will be very fast. For iBGP, and specifically when you use loopback, for instance, you have the neighbor failover command without the BFD extension, okay? Because for what we are talking about BFD for IPv6 peering, for instance, we use the BFD extension of the failover command. Here, use the neighbor failover command without BFD extension for iBGP. The consequence of that is if there is a failing circuit for reachability of the loopback, OSPF will immediately withdraw the loopback routes and will notify BGP protocol about that. As a consequence, BGP will do exactly the same. And that notification and those messages to notify from the IGP, the BGP process will be in milliseconds. So again, for iBGP over the loopback, no need with the neighbor failover. So when enabling BFD for the specific case mentioned above, which is for non-direct point-to-point circuits, the objective is really to track the availability of the physical links, right? And not to monitor the reachability of the loopback. It's really physical link monitoring that we want to do. So as a consequence, loopback address must not be used for BFD use case for BGP peering IP address. So it's not suitable for iBGP because traditionally we have loopback address used for iBGP. And pay attention as well when it would be eBGP multi-hop over loopback address. So details, we support version 1 of BFD. The mode that we are supporting is asynchronous, okay? The echo function is implemented in hardware for IPv4. Remember that in 6400 for 10.4 we disabled echo function due to the issue on the ASIC, and that aspect has been put back for 10.6. So now echo function is working for IPv4 in 10.6. IPv6 echo mode is not supported for IPv6 in any platform, and for hardware and software function is supported for v6 on applicable platform. So not all platform. You will see that in a minute with the supported matrix. So the hop, it's single hop, and it's a directly connected hop in terms of IPLS, single hop. Interface could be ROP, SVI, and layer 3 lag. And the daemon in charge of BFD is BFDD. The supported protocols and operational mode for BFD is summarized here. You have all the platforms except the 6200 for those capability for OSPF and BGP. You have asynchronous mode. You have pay attention that you will configure a global source address, but only for v4, not for v6. The echo function that apply on v4 is supported in hardware for all platforms. Demand mode is not supported. The IPv4 is supported. IPv6 is supported only for 6300, 6400, and 8400, not for 8320 and 8325, and currently not on 8360. So that might change in the future. We don't know yet, but well, it seems that the infrastructure is there to support that, but it has been chosen not to support that as the use case was not supported on the existing data center top of rack 8320 and 8325. So this is to align to that product. Okay, so right now it's not supported on that. So as a consequence, no support as well for OSPF v3 and BGP IPv6 for those platforms. Okay. BFD capacities in terms of number of sessions, 256. In terms of minimum receive time and transmit time interval, so that would be 500 milliseconds as a minimum that you can configure for the receive interval and the transmit interval for those control packet, for BFD control packet. Less for the 8320 and 8325, but for IPv6, it does not. We don't care too much about those two because it's not supported. So obviously, you need to pay attention on any access list. Okay, so that BFD control UDP packet must not be filtered. For v4, there is no dependency on ICMP. However, for v6, you have a dependency of ICMP v6 as you saw previously, and I will show you in the Wireshark. So that should be allowed. So as Kishore mentioned, the BFD for BGP IPv6 peering relies entirely on the control plane. So as a consequence, that might be a bit tricky in case of what we call false failure detections. So what could happen when you have a control plane switchover, like a management module failover or HP routing and BFD restart? So if we use very short timer for BFD, so aggressive timer, we may detect that the peer is getting down before the control plane is fully restarted. So again, switch 1 with those aggressive timer may detect that switch 2 is not there any longer, and before you actually kick in a graceful restart. So normally that should be mitigated by the fact that HP routing and BFD daemons are dormant daemons on the standby module or on the standby VSF. So normally this is the case. If you use default timer, BFD default timer, so control plane handover between the active MM and the standby MM, or between the VSF commander and standby, has been successfully tested and it's happened before there is a timeout for BFD. So it has been successfully tested for IPv4, but also for IPv6. Configuration. So that's here, as Kishore was mentioning, we configure that in the global configuration, in the global context. And this is BGP consuming that service thanks to the configuration in BGP of the neighbor failover BFD command that will appropriately recursively identify that that neighbor is reachable through that given interface and positioning that BFD session on that interface. So that it's automatically done under the hood without you to actually set up that appropriately on a given interface. On the global context, and through the BFD failover command on the specific BGP neighbor, you apply that command. You do that in mirror on switch 1 and on switch 3. It is recommended to use the same timers. And so the BFD will be negotiated. That would come from the init state to the up state when it's completely established. So configuration is quite easy. Let's move on with I would say the show BFD. Here you've got the BFD session that you see here that is applied on the interface that correspond to the BGP peering where that peering is established on which particular interface. You see the state is up. Even if this is an IPv6, you may see an echo that is set as enabled. Well, think that it's not the regular echo hardware function, but more the echo control plane function that is related to the ICMPv6 encapsulating and echoing back the control plane echo message that has been seen. The echo source IP is not needed here, so no IP configured because you cannot configure any IPv6 address yet on that one. So as the echo function is not supported in IPv6 in 10.6. Best practice. So use BFD really for non-direct point-to-point peering when you've got a device, an intermediate device between the two peers. Timers, use the detect multiplier 3 and the timers receive timer and transmit timer. It would be 500 milliseconds. This has been successfully tested with hundreds of sessions, parallel sessions. So this is just fine with that. Troubleshooting. So you will obviously do a show BFD, so to understand if this is enabled, if the BFD session is up. And then you have the BFD session ID. You have a show BFD summary that will provide you the number of BFDs that are active in down, init, or up. Then you can further go to show BFD session with the BFD session ID. You will see the negotiated intervals that are related to that session. The detect multiplier that has been set here to a bit aggressive and to the protocols that are consuming that, and the number of packets that are exchanged, received, and transmit. Okay. As well, you'll be able to see the number of state flaps. So this is important. So this is the number of times the BFD has detected that there is a connection issue between those two peers. And again, the show BFD protocols where you see that is what it is consumed per protocols. So here we have that only on BGP. Control sequence. So as I mentioned, the pcap file is inserted here. So you see that pcap file will provide you all the necessary information to understand the initialization of BFD session, as well as the regular, I would say, keep alive for BFD. So during the negotiation through the BFD control message, you see here that the session state is init, so it's a negotiation still. The control plane independent is not set, so it's not hardware accelerated function. It's just done all by software. It's not the on-demand, but it's asynchronous mode. These are the timers that are proposed here. And next slide is when the state is up. So when the state is up, you see, finally, the timer that has been agreed is 500 milliseconds here, here, and here. Now, let's have a closer look on what I explained before, the exchange for when there is that software, I would say, echo function through ICMP-v6. So this is again the PCAP file that you can open. So this is the control message, the BFD control message, which is really in the UDP datagram. So this is a packet seen as a BFD control message, where you have the destination here is the IPv6 destination is switch 1, and that the source is switch 3 here. You have a discriminator, which is the ID of the BFD session. So my discriminator here, that index here correspond to the index that is local on switch 3. And the remote is here as well indicated. Now the packet back, and you see that this is the packet back. If you look at the time, the reply has been done almost immediately after. So this is really the reply to that request. And you see that reply is actually an ICMP v6 packet. And the datagram of that ICMP v6 packet contain the copy of the BFD control message probe that you've got here. So for instance, the discriminator is my discriminator is exactly the same than before. So think about that BFD control message. It is not a BFD control message sent by the switch 1 to switch 3, but it's a reply of the encapsulated control message inside ICMP v6 to just simply fake like an hardware echo back to switch 3 about the liveness of that circuit. So I hope that this is clear for you. So in terms of debug, so you can do a debug buffer where you will see that IPv6 sessions are not hardware supported. Okay. However, the BFD type would be asynchronous and echo, because this is what we want to achieve. Final state is up after initialization. So these messages are done and exchanged during initialization. So look at this final state. Initial state init, final state up. That was initialization. Next further, so I put in gray here what we just seen, and next is what happened during a link failure. So you'll have a stimulus here, and it was from the initial state that was up to a final state that is pending remote discriminator with the session ID and the destination IP with the source port. So you've got a reference of the BFD session. If you look at show BFD session at that time, you will see a state flap that is increasing and the state is down. Okay. And here you've got probably a discrepancy between the number of packets received and number of packets transmitted. Next would be troubleshooting BFD. So in the slide deck, you will see there are some hidden slides where you've got more about BFD debugs and events. Okay, but here this is related to BGP. So I hand over to you, Kishore, about the BGP aspect of that
log. Yeah, sure, Vincent. Thanks. So here we can see that as soon as the state change it to established, actually peer just above the pointer. So as soon as the state is BGP neighbor is established, so BGP would indicate BFD to monitor that session. So as soon as it is writing to the database BFD table, so we can see this log. And then like as soon as BFD has been established, it would be waiting, and it would be monitoring and make the status up in the BFD table. So next slide. So if there is any, because of a link failure or any unreachability conditions, BFD would be indicating a down notification, and it would be updating through the database BFD table, and then immediately BGP we can see that BGP transitions to idle state actually from this debug, and BFD session will be terminated. Yep.
So you have as well the fast log that you can troubleshoot for anything happening on the BFD. Okay, so you have those information that might be relevant as well. So again, this is just purely here focusing on BGP, so we are not spending too much time of that. Please refer to any further BFD TOI that you may have seen in the past, and as well for WizDB client for the BFD session, so you can dump the BFD sessions here. And that's it. So let's move to the demonstration on that.
Yeah, this is the topology I'm using for the demo. Here we can see there are 4-node topology, PE1 and PE2, which are L3 switches, and PE1 and PE2 connected via two different networks, 300 colon 1 and 300 colon and 200 colon 64 networks. So we have a so hence two BGP neighborships via these two connections. On the PE2, we will be seeing the route towards the loopback on the PE1, 800 colon 1. So in this case, actually 200 colon 1 is choosing as a best path. So we made arrangements. I mean, we applied the roadmap such that 200 colon is always taking as a best. So 300 colon will be a alternative path. So in the next, I'm going to perform an event to cut down the link between P1 and the bottom L2 switch, so that like with add path and without add path, how long the convergence timing differs. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's go to the switches. So here is the PE1 and here is the PE2. On the PE2, we can see the network to 800 colon 1 towards PE1, that is with the both next hop 200 and the 300 colon 1. So now there is no BFD enabled on the 200 on the 200 neighbor. I haven't enabled, and now I'm going to cut down the link and see how long it is taking. This is the link between P1 and L2 switch, bottom L2 switch. So we can see that the ping actually is failing now. So I have adjusted the timers to even to quicken this process basically, but still it is actually going to take a few minutes. So let's see the routing table. So here 200 colon is still best, and see why it is, because we have the network still it is up because it is connected via L2 switch. Because the neighbors are still up. So I think just now gone down because of that. Now it entered into a stale path timer because the neighbor went down silently without any notification received. Because of that, it is in a GR mode now, and it has to wait for expiration of the stale path timer. So during entire this time, we see that the traffic is lost. So as soon as that stale path timer got cleaned up, the alternative path is chosen and the ping is resumed. So let's see the same event after enabling uh, uh, the uh, the neighbor BFD on the neighbor. So on this side, I have already enabled BFD. So let's see the BFD session comes up. It's still it's showing down. Okay, I have to enable the link so to form the neighborship. Yeah, now it is up. So we can see BFD should be up. The state is up on the either side, on both the sides. It's up. Now the ping is still going on. Now I am going to enable I'm going to shut down the link of the primary path. So we can see here so how quickly it is like converged to the secondary path. We can see shut down. I am shutting down, and we can clearly see immediately the path is like within few seconds, maybe it's like converged to the alternative path, and there is no ping drop actually. Yeah, that's all.